In this update, we've got two strong cold fronts and two winter storms, all to end the month of November. Let's expand the view, take a look at the overall 500 millibar setup. All eyes will be across the middle part of the country because that will be our next storm maker, as a stronger cold front will be diving out of Canada. And we've got an area of low pressure that will be developing within the Dakotas, and that will bring a winter storm. In fact, we've already have winter weather advisories and winter storm warnings in place for much of the Dakotas, especially there into Minnesota and Wisconsin. And the winds are going to be cranking too. So we're talking blizzard-like conditions as well as the snow starts to fall. Further south, we had all the rain yesterday. We've got several fog advisories now that's been lifted. But let's delve into the details because we still have a warm sector down into the southeast. So we had the storms yesterday over Texas. In fact, we even had a confirmed tornado closer to Houston area. And then even a couple tornadoes that were confirmed across the southeast. And yet again, we have yet another highlighted risk for some tornadoes possible today within the warm sector down there into Mississippi, especially there in Alabama, getting into Atlanta, because they're still within the warm sector with the southeast ridge alive and prevalent. So definitely be on the lookout for some stronger thunderstorms, some bigger hail, and unfortunately, you could be producing a couple more tornadoes yet this afternoon, heading into the deeper peak time frame. So, but further to the north, we're talking some snow, right? We've got the winter weather advisories and the winter storm warnings in place. We should start to see a bona fide area of low pressure swinging across the northern U.S. and bring some heavy snows with it, especially as you get closer within Minnesota, and especially as you go into some of that lake effect and enhanced snowfall. Further to the south, they'll be dealing with the storm activity this afternoon. And then further to the north, as you swing into Ohio, back into Pennsylvania, that will be just some overall rain showers. But we're waiting for that new storm system that will be swinging across. So as this thing gets cranking up and deepens on the backside, it's going to be some very heavy blinding snows, and then some of that will be lake effect enhanced induced as well. We could be looking at some isolated areas over a foot of snow, likely not out of the question with this bona fide snowmaker. And the winds are going to be cranking as well. So as we get deeper into the day on Wednesday, yeah, that's what it's going to be hitting on full throttle with all the heavier snows, and some of that lake effect is going to be starting to kick in. So let's take a look at the National Weather Service. This is the newest update from the National Weather Service with this first winter storm, as we'll be dropping some higher elevation snows there into Montana, but it really starts to get cranking up there in the Dakotas with several inches of snow. But once you get into Minneapolis, we're talking 4 to 5 inches of snow. And then especially as you swing into northern Wisconsin, you get closer to the lake, and yes, we could be looking at feet of snow, if not a couple of feet in some isolated areas, is not out of the question. And of course, this will continue to swing across in northern Michigan, and then get into the lake effect snow as well, back into Pennsylvania and upstate New York. So pretty prevalent for this time of year to get some of that lake effect snow. And there's the first colder shot of air as we head into tomorrow afternoon. Yes, these are high temperatures. They won't even get out of the 20s where all that snow is going to be flying. 30s a little bit further south in Iowa, back into Illinois. 40s as you swing further south in Kansas, and back into the 50s in Oklahoma. Probably 56 there in Dallas. And then, yes, we're talking 80s, if not low 80s for a good part of Florida. And then as you wake up on Thanksgiving morning, about 60% of you will be experiencing a freeze across the lower 48. Of course, with the snowpack, you'll be the coldest because that adds another 10 degrees there to those surface temperatures. But nonetheless, you're definitely going to be feeling the chill, and it's going to be feeling a lot like what it should be for Thanksgiving morning across the lower 48. And beyond that, we'll be looking at yet another disturbance, and this is the subtropical jet stream that has actually been fairly active over the last couple of weeks. that's what's sending some of the higher rain totals back into areas of California. And then we have yet another system that will be swinging across the subtropical jet, and that will be swinging more heavy rain in areas of Texas and back into Oklahoma as we get deeper into the day on Friday, as we have a second stronger blast of colder air that will likely be coming out of Canada. So we got the first shot that will swing south and then slingshot east. That will be a colder day coming up for the Northeast as we head into the day on Friday. And then all eyes will be trending up there into Canada. That is the more significant colder shot of air that will arrive for the weekend. And that should be the coldest air mass we've seen so far this season, as it really kind of gets its act together and brings the second winter storm that will start cranking up on Saturday. And yes, that means Denver, if I'm not mistaken, they actually haven't seen any measurable snow within the Denver area, but that will be ending as we head into this weekend with the snow starting to crank up in that neck of the woods. And then a low pressure center will be really starting to get active. So you got the warm sector further south that will bring more rain for areas of, say, Dallas-Fort Worth, back into the Houston area, into East Texas. And then we likely have more heavy rain extending from the Oklahoma City into Tulsa further east, then further up into Kansas, and then where the low pressure center, as it slingshots northeast, that will bring down snow, tapping into some of that colder air that's coming in from the north. And yes, we're talking the winds will be cranking again back into Nebraska, back into the Dakotas, and even to Iowa, and yeah, even going into northern Illinois. Places like Chicago will start seeing the snow as we get into the day on Saturday, but those winds are also going to be cranking. So, the combination of the two systems, you got the first system, and then you got the second system that will arrive this weekend. Pretty windy conditions and some blizzard-like conditions, as the snow will likely fall in some of those snow-driven areas. And then the colder air pushes further south as we get deeper into the weekend, with the snowstorm continue to crank over a good part of the upper Midwest, back into the Ohio Valley. Yes, even areas of Indiana will start seeing the snow by then, back into Ohio, areas of, say, western Pennsylvania. And then more heavy snow will be covering Wisconsin and back into Michigan again, as the second system continues to lift up to the northeast, and you got the rain showers further south. And then the plunge in temperatures as we get deeper into the day on Saturday, especially into Sunday morning. That cold front will mean business, and this is the coldest air mass of the season that we've seen for the last day of November. This is coming up on Sunday, so those temperature anomalies will really start plunging 10, 15 degrees below average temperatures by then, as the temperatures will continue to plunge all the way down into the deep south of Texas. And by the time you get into Sunday morning, this is what it will feel like. You got widespread teens below zero up there where the snowpack is. And then further south will be feeling like the single digits, and there in Nebraska, much of Kansas, back in 15-degree feel like in Oklahoma City. You get the idea. That is definitely the coldest air mass we've seen. And freeze extending all the way into central Texas on Sunday morning. There's the overall rain precipitation between now and the end of the month. So we got these two systems that will be coming across, bringing the heavier rain, more heavy rain, extending the totals. Pretty impressive amounts they've seen across portions of Texas and Oklahoma for the month of November. And then combination of the system that's happening today across the southeast. And then we have yet another system that will be swinging across for Friday, Saturday, and heading into the Sunday time frame. Most of this further north will be in the form of snow. So let's add up those totals between the two combined winter storms. Yeah, fairly decent snowfall totals combined with the two. Obviously, the first system will be further north. The second system will drop a little bit further south, but you'll still get some snow in areas of Missouri, 4 to 5 inch totals in central and northern Illinois. Some isolated 6 amounts not out of the question. A couple inches of snow into Indiana, northern portions of Ohio, And then we'll be talking more about beyond that as we head into the month of December, because things look to get really, really cranking in the first couple of days. And so I just wanted to kind of give you an overview of the 2 winter storms that's happening right now and the 2 stronger cold fronts as we transition into the first day of meteorologically winter, which is actually coming up on next Monday. So guys, I appreciate you watching. Do like this video, definitely hit the subscribe button, and catch me next update. Wire protect you before and after the storm.